for the rebuild, and that Ranger fans should be completely ecstatic about.
Absolutely. Hawks just put one back in, so it's 3-2 now.
Oh.
Your spot, it's just York and 3 goals, man. I think it's a pretty good chance the Rangers are going to come out on top of this one here tonight. And speaking of goaltend, buddy, Georgiev got a couple starts there in a row, and Hank hasn't been between the pipes here now in a real game in quite a while. So what's your take here on Hank just chilling out on the bench and, the back and forth here with the goaltenders? It definitely seems, obviously, just by in terms of who Quinn's been playing, Shesty and Georgie have been the 1-2 here. And now with the trade deadline coming up, and we still don't know what's going to go on here. But just a quick take on the last couple of weeks here with Quinn's decision and keeping Hank on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly where Lundqvist should be. He shouldn't be playing. I mean, there's no reason for him to be playing. He's not part of the rebuild. He's not going to be part of the rebuild. And Shesterkin and Georgiev need to be playing as much as possible, whether that's to continue their development so that when this team is ready to contend in a couple of years, they're ready to go, or it's to showcase a guy like Georgiev. I mean, you can't find me a reason other than sentimental to be starting Lundqvist right now, and that just doesn't cut it. When teams make decisions based on emotion is when they start making mistakes. This team is in the rebuild. They need to get these guys Georgiev and Shesterkin minutes, and that's what Quinn is doing, and I give him tremendous credit for it. That's not an easy decision to sit an icon like Lundqvist and just sort of let him linger there, but he's doing what's best for the team, what's best for the organization. And it's not like Lundqvist has been playing bad this year. I mean, you could potentially make an argument that he probably should be playing ahead of Georgiev, but that really doesn't matter this year. I don't care that he could potentially be better than Georgiev or Shesterkin. I mean, he's not playing better than Shesterkin, but it's all about the future and the rebuild, and Lundqvist isn't going to be a part of it. So, it's a tough way to see him go out, but look, he signed on for this. He knew, or at least had to know, that this could potentially be the scenario that takes place. And, I don't know if what's happened over the last couple of weeks is enough for him to move his no-trade clause. It'd be interesting to see if the Rangers have approached him on that, and if it's something now he's starting to become frustrated where he does want to play, and maybe he'd entertain that. Now, the other end of that is, are any teams interested in Lundqvist, in a 37-year-old? Is he 37? How old is Lundqvist these days? 37-year-old.
Pretty sure you got it, yeah.
Yeah, 37-year-old goaltender who hasn't played in like a month. So are teams interested in that kind of player? I mean, Colorado, who's a team that I've sort of connected Lundqvist with, Grubauer went down the other night, so they could potentially be looking for a goaltender. Like, I don't know if Georgiev is someone they'd be more interested in having, or maybe they want to bring in Hank as more of a stopgap until Grubauer is healthy. Obviously, the Rangers would have to eat a tremendous amount, or half his salary, and they really probably wouldn't get much back for Lundqvist. But again, you allow Lundqvist a chance of potentially winning a cup. You get his or salary, at least a large portion of his salary, off the books, and hopefully both of them part on good terms. So, like I said, it's a tough situation. We all love Hank, and it'd be great for him to retire here and maybe retire with a cup, but that's just not realistic. So I love the way Quinn has been handling it lately. Look, they keep Lundqvist on the bench, which is fine. If you want to, not completely make him look bad by putting him up in the press box, that's fine. But me, I've hated the 3-goalie monster from day one, and what's actually amazing is it actually hasn't affected this team one iota, or hasn't affected Shesterkin's play. Like you said, Georgiev came in the other day; he was fantastic in the 3 games that he played in, and the team has been playing the best hockey they've played all year. So maybe I was wrong that the 3-goalie monster actually is sustainable. Now, it's really only been 2 goalies, so Lundqvist really hasn't been playing. But it's actually Quinn, again, I give him all the credit in the world. He's actually made it work. and we'll see what happens at the trade deadline.
Well, buddy, this just in. We're missing a great game. Kreider just popped in a goal, and Panarin just scored. So they're 5-2 now with 10 to go.
Holy cow. Yeah, you know what? I can't even, while we're doing the show, I can't even have it on because I would not be paying attention to what we were saying at all. So I turned it off. So I'm not even watching it.
I don't have it on. I'm going back between the apps here, and I'm just kind of keeping tabs on it. And I think it's just kind of funny. They're at 5-2 now.
That's so great. Awesome.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and this, I guess, alludes to the overall play of the team. I know it's something that you wanted to discuss here. And just to remind everybody, we're doing this. I'm up in Windham, New York here on location. We're trying this. Is pretty new here. I'm not used to my old studio setup here, but and I'm in pain, KD. I'm been up and down, taking my daughter skiing today and everything. So I'm I'm sorry if I'm a little reserved tonight as far as my punch, but they were running good into that Boston game, feeling pretty good. I went to the game on Sunday. And it was just great to be back in the Garden. And, man, you were right, man, with the T-shirts and the balloon going around. I was really upset about that. It's been a while since I've been to the Garden seeing that show. And the flag crew was there, which was good. But, yeah, they just really didn't – it's kind of weird how, as far as, we're going to talk about the overall play of the team here, how they just kind of – they seem to be checked out. The power play couldn't get going. They just weren't themselves, obviously, until it was too late till the end. And but what are you going to do? And now they bounce back here against the Hawks, so I guess they should be because the Hawks just aren't really the team that they used to play, even though they still have all these great names on the squad. But this has been the MO of this team, and I know we've talked about it as far as where we feel this team is headed. We talked about Quinn last time. We talked about this lineup. Obviously, Gauthier coming in changes things up a little bit. But it's been the same same lineup throughout. Not a lot of injuries, if any at all. And here they are, bouncing back, and they're spreading the goals around again too, which is great, buddy. So, talk about how you feeling about them after the Boston game and now bouncing back against the Hawks tonight.
Yeah, I didn't expect much going into the Boston game. They're one of the best teams in the league, and I think that was probably some of the reason that the Rangers weren't playing well, is that Boston's a good team, and they do that to you. They're a very good defensive team. But I do give the Rangers credit in that game because they played well defensively also, which to me has been the key turnaround for this team. I mean, they were just so atrocious early on in the year defensively. And you wondered with the offense that the Rangers had, if they just played mediocre, it should be good enough for this team to go on a little bit of run. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, this defense hasn't been great by any stretch of the imagination, but they've been good enough. And I think that's led to this turnaround where they've been one of the better teams in the league. I mean, there was a stat the other day that the Rangers had the 5th most regulation wins in the NHL. I mean, think about that. Top 5 regulation wins in the NHL. I mean, if that doesn't show you how good of a team this is, because especially now in the NHL where the overtime is 3-on-3 and then obviously you go into a shootout, it's all a crapshoot. I mean, that's not hockey. It's not real hockey. So in the portion of the game that's actually hockey, the Rangers are the 5th best team in the NHL. It was 5th or 6th, whatever it was. 5th or 6th best team in the NHL. I'd say that Quinn, who's taken a lot of blame from Ranger, a lot of criticism from Ranger fans this year of sort of not knowing what he's doing and destroying the team and the rebuild and will never win with them. I don't know. I think the guy's doing a pretty damn good job when he has the 5th or 6th most regulation wins in all of the NHL. So, I think that the rebuild is on track, maybe even past my expectations of where they could be. I mean, they're an entertaining team. I mean, when you're going to put on the game, it's going to be an entertaining team. They're going to put it all on the line. You're going to see young kids flying around. It's not always going to be perfect, but it's what exactly you want to see as part of a rebuild. A young team, a dynamic team, putting it all out there, and they're winning games now. So if you're a Ranger fan, you can't be happier with the way things are going. But having said that, that can all change next week at the trade deadline, because if a Kreider does go, if a Strome goes, Georgiev, D'Angelo, you name the person, that the team this year is probably going to take a little bit of a hit. But that's okay. I still think that the future of the team is beyond bright, and the envy of a lot of fan bases around the league who would love to be, building things the way the Rangers have, which hopefully will lead to a sort of sustained success, over the next decade or so. And I'm really excited with the way that Gordon and JD, more recently, but really Gordon have built this team, and the way that Quinn has led this team, early on where they basically made the young guys fight for playing time, fight for positions on this team, where they gave the positions to guys like Haley and Smith and forced Hedel to work his way back from the AHL. They're forcing, Howden to get his time. Anderson, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but it's just, that's an example for the other young guys to see. Look, if I don't work hard, if I'm not putting up points, if I'm not doing the right things away from the play, I'm not going to be on this team anymore. So I think it's good that other players have seen that there's repercussions to, not playing, quote unquote, the right way. And it's paying off with what you're seeing from the players and the team right now. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well, we all got to be excited. It's now 6-3, Kevin. Zibanejad just scored. So
what is going on in this game? Goodness.
Well, I tell you what, we'll put a bow tie on this one here. I don't know why I say bow tie, Kev, but I should be saying ribbon. I think that's what I mean to say. But what I want to say is next week is just a massive week for the New York Rangers for a couple of reasons. Obviously, they're going to come out on top here tonight, and then they've got Carolina on Friday, and then they play the Sharks at home. Carolina should definitely be a tough game. Not to make San Jose a pushover, but they've been struggling. And then next week, obviously, Monday, the trade deadline. And then we have the Islanders, Montreal, and then back-to-back against Philly. So on March 1st, obviously, we'll be going on air next Wednesday night, after the trade deadline, after the Islander game. But, man, if you just look at all the things that could happen, number one, for the Rangers at the trade deadline, and then those three huge games, especially if the guys come out on top here against the Canes and the Sharks to wrap up this weekend. It's been a long, long time, KD, since the Rangers have looked at such a big week, not only around the trading deadline, but also a slate of games that might get this team, either with new players or not, rebuild or not, but maybe even a little closer to the playoffs. And as much as we enjoy this team, talking about their overall play, the goaltending situation, everything else, man, if they can creep into the playoffs, man, it'd be something special to put a ribbon or a cap on this second year of Coach Quinn's season, Coach Quinn's career, and this rebuild season.
Yeah, I've said
that was too much
year,
for you, right, KD?
I know. I've said all year, and it's not about wins and losses. By the way, if anybody saw it, Paul, I know you did. One of our readers was putting together a Go Rangers radio drinking game.
Yes.
And one of the times you drink is when I say it's not about wins and losses. So everyone drink.
And I've called you KD quite a few times this evening.
That's right. But like I said, it's not about wins and losses. Having said that, yes, if this team can somehow sneak its way in the playoffs, man, that would be such an amazing experience for these young guys, and will only accelerate, the rebuild that much more. Even if they're swept out in the first round against, Boston or Washington or wherever it is they end up playing in the first round. Just to even be in that situation where you get, Shesterkin some playoff games, and Kako and all the rest, Hedel and all these young guys, and even I'd love to see Panarin get a little postseason action, as a thank you, almost like for signing with this team in the midst of a rebuild, and it almost like a reward there for him. for coming here and putting